All right, well listen, hey Brian, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming. 301 West Bay here in downtown, lovely downtown Jacksonville. Appreciate your time. Tell me a little bit about yourself, who you work for, and then I'll ask a little bit more about your background of like kind of where you're from and all that, but who do you work for?
Yeah, so Brian Paden, thanks for having me today. This is awesome, first podcast.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Welcome. Joe Rogan's next for you, I feel.
I think so, yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I work for a company called ARCO Design+Build. Our main specialty is industrial warehouse distribution centers, so big, sexy concrete boxes.
Yep.
We got 47 offices across the country. I work out of the Jacksonville, Florida office. So local expertise, but we build all over the country. Got a couple buildings in California, Richmond, Virginia.
Nice.
A lot of stuff going on in Jacksonville.
Good.
So yeah, it's kind of
Jacksonville is like the center of the universe, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, great for industrial.
Right. Where are you from originally? Are you from Jacksonville?
So from Birmingham, Alabama originally.
Okay.
Hopped around a little bit, Dallas, Texas, for a short stint.
Dallas.
Moved to Atlanta to go work with ARCO. So I was there for 3 or 4 years, and then moved down to Jacksonville about middle of 2020.
So you moved to Jacksonville for ARCO.
Yeah.
They said there's an opening in our Jacksonville office. We'd like to send you there. Had you ever been to Jacksonville?
So office didn't exist yet.
Okay.
I had built a couple projects down here working out of the Atlanta office. We saw the growth in industrial with the port. They were doing the deepening and improvements with the port. Saw a good opportunity for industrial business, so hey, let's go start an office there. So myself and Dan Croft moved from Atlanta, started this office, height of COVID, and
oh man.
So bad for most of the country, great for industrial product.
Yeah.
Warehouse need really boomed during that period, so it's been a good run.
When you move from Birmingham to Dallas to Atlanta to then Jacksonville, what was your first impression of the Jacksonville market? And then follow up, what was your impression of downtown Jacksonville?
Yeah, I think Jacksonville market, as far as what we build, we knew some stuff was going on. We had a project that was starting up. We thought we'd do 1 or 2 buildings here a year. Still looking at that national reach,
right?
That we could operate out of here. Nice place to live, with beaches. But it actually just boomed as soon as we got here. So the bulk of our business has actually been in Jacksonville the last 4.5 years.
Did you, when you were looking for a place to live, in Jacksonville, did downtown ever come up? Did you look at downtown?
Yeah.
As a place to possibly live?
Yeah, actually, initially, that's where my wife wanted to be. She wanted to be in an area that kind of we were used to, right? It was big trees and kind of older houses and that kind of feel. And so we looked for a long time in Jacksonville.
Like Avondale area and
Ortega,
Riverside.
if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Riverside, we found a house we loved there. And the vibe was pretty cool with the little restaurants, and that's kind of what we're used to living in the South. And Atlanta and Birmingham is kind of those old neighborhood pocket feel that you like, and walkability.
Yeah. Did you end up, and is that where you ended up moving?
No, we ended up at the beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and kind of what played into that was, well, number one, we went out to the beach. It was the most beautiful day you could possibly have.
Chamber of Commerce
went into Sawgrass, and you're like, man, how can we not live here, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think really what it came down to was, all right, we're living downtown. What school do you go to? You're going to private school. Houses are similar price, and all right, why would we move to Jacksonville, not live at the beach? The schools are great out there. We don't need private school. It just made more sense in the end.
Yeah, I think that's a great point for younger families. If you're gonna live downtown, especially in downtown,
right?
North Core, South Bank. Like, where would you send your kids to school? Is a non-private school,
right?
Like where do you send your kids to school? So education is probably a pretty big driver of that. Yeah, I would think.
Our kids were young. I think elementary schools are great. Okay, what's beyond that? When you kind of bring everybody together, are they going to be good schools? Right. Where are they going to be going, and that kind of thing.
So. Right. So what is, I guess, so outside of education, when you're talking about downtown, like what's important to you guys when you look at a downtown of, Dallas and Atlanta and Birmingham, like what are some of the things you're like, man, that's awesome. Like I wish Jacksonville had that.
Yeah. And that was a good point, because we're looking at downtown and we're kind of surprised, coming from Dallas, coming from Atlanta, and Birmingham, even right before we left, was kind of coming around at that time, was you're coming to Florida, you're coming to Jacksonville, they got an NFL team.
Yeah.
You're thinking this place is going to be great.
Yeah.
And you get down here and you're like, well,
where is everybody?
what do you do? What's there to do? What you go downtown to do what? Kind of what we were used to was you go downtown, there's walkways, there's parks, there's restaurants, there's things to go do with the family. It's like, the way I think about it is like, all right, me and my wife want to go on a date night.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Like, if you want to go to brunch, it's like you don't want to just go, I don't want to drive 30 minutes to go to one restaurant and then go home.
Right.
Like, you want to spend some time there and have a nice day, really.
What did Birmingham do? You mentioned that. I think you mentioned as you were leaving, they were kind of like transforming. Like what did they have downtown? Like if you were to tell me, hey man, you should go to Birmingham, you should check out this.
Yeah.
What did they have in downtown Birmingham? I've never been to Birmingham.
Yeah. So if you went when I was growing up there, you would think it's Jacksonville right now.
Oh really? So
yeah.
it
so there
was nothing. Yeah, there was nobody in downtown Birmingham.
Right. There wasn't much
ago.
going on.
Okay.
You didn't go downtown for anything. If
Okay.
you had to go to the courthouse, great. You go to the courthouse and you get back
Courthouse
out
is
to the
right
suburbs,
there.
right?
Yep.
That's where everything was.
Okay.
As right before I left, so graduated college, came back, things were starting to change. So they did a couple things, and they did it right. So first, they had a minor league baseball team. So there's no pro sports in Alabama.
Which
right?
we've got the jumbo
You've got
shrimp, right? Okay.
You've got it. So what they did was they brought it from the suburbs, built a brand new stadium there for the minor league team. They had an old rail yard that was not being used, made it into a beautiful park. So you got a beautiful park, ballpark, and then about that time, Alabama changed the beer laws.
Oh.
So now distillery or breweries were able to open up. So a brewery opened up right next to the minor league stadium.
Okay.
All right, so now you've got, hey, it's Thursday night. Let's go downtown. Let's hit up the brewery, go to a baseball game. Maybe spend some time at the park before the game. Have a nice day. And then, so that kind of spurred some development around it. Like, all right, well, people want to go to games. They like the brewery. They like the park. All right, so now young guys are at college like myself they want to live down there, right? They want to work down there. So development started around the park. Now you also have a college downtown, so that helps.
Which college?
UAB.
Okay.
So UAB was putting a lot of money into their campus. And then another thing they did was, and all this had been planned for years and years, and just nothing ever happened, right?
Okay.
So finally you get a little development, start spurring it, and they did what they call the Rotary Trail.
The Rotary Trail.
So
okay.
now it's walkable, right? So, or get on a scooter. So now you can go to different parts of town on the trail. So as people started coming downtown.
It is pedestrian trail only.
Right.
So was it a former street that they closed?
It was a former rail line.
Oh, former rail line. Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
So Birmingham's a big industrial steel town.
Yeah.
That kind of faded away. And at one time, like my parents were growing up, Birmingham was somewhere you went, had a lot of retail, that kind of thing, and industry kind of died. People moved to the suburbs, and downtown's dead, right?
Yeah.
So it's how do we get it back?
Yeah.
And it's green spaces, interconnectivity, and now when I go back, when we go visit friends, we go downtown.
You guys go out
right?
downtown.
So if you said, hey, I'm going to Birmingham, what should I do? I would give you 15 different restaurants you have to try.
Okay.
Right? All downtown. They're awesome food, not fancy, expensive restaurants, just easy, casual, great food places.
Yeah.
Go try it. Bars around there.
Yeah.
And then they built like entertainment district.
Okay.
Right? So you have the minor league team on one side. On the north side, they built an entertainment district around the convention center.
Okay.
So what that allows is, all right, we've got a game or a show we're going to go to. Right across the street, we've got bars and restaurants, and they did open container laws. Okay, now we can hang out, we can walk around, do something before the show, not just go to the convention center, see what you want to see, and go home.
Yep.
There's something to do to keep you around and hang out.
Well, it sounds like we downtown Jacksonville. It sounds like we've got a lot of that in the works, right?
Right.
You've got the minor league stadium or the Jumbo Shrimp.
Right.
Obviously the Jags. Right next to the Jumbo Shrimp Stadium, there's Intuition, a brewery. We could have maybe better walkways and parks, but with the park, Met Park, I guess it's called, Metropolitan Park, next to the Four Seasons that they're redoing down there, it sounds like we've got that. And then with UF, right, UF coming to La Villa, we have a lot of the stuff, it sounds like.
It feels like it's starting, right?
There.
But like, how do you put it together?
Yeah.
How do you get it done? And yeah, it seems like a perfect scenario where you have the NFL park, you've got the minor league stadium, you've got some development there. Okay, well, how do you connect that to other parts of the city where people can start at one side? I mean, wouldn't it be great if, okay, I want to go to a Jags game. It's at 7 o'clock. Let's get down there at noon.
Yeah.
Let's go have lunch, have a couple drinks, walk the path.
Right.
Work your way towards the stadium, hit different spots, have nice parks, utilize the river. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Birmingham doesn't have a river. That to me, that's huge. People love going to eat, looking at the water.
Yeah.
They love hanging out, being able to see the water. So how do we utilize our asset of a river and connect the different areas downtown, the different pockets where people can easily get from one to the other and have a good time while they're doing it?
I think that's huge. I think that I love the river. I think that it's wide enough that it doesn't seem like current is that big of an issue. So I feel like there should be more like boat access. There should be more piers that allow you to tie up your boat and come down here
too,
for
right?
100 restaurants like you said along the river walk.
Yeah.
I think that they're getting there, right? Like they're getting there, but I agree that we need to somehow incorporate the river. It seems like such a perfect asset.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a city like Tampa.
Yeah.
Similar situation.
Yes.
And they went all in.
Yes.
With the Riverwalk.
Yes.
And it's been a huge success.
Yes.
Right. And if you read into that and like how it came together, it's, hey, we're going to start this project. We're going to connect different parts of the town.
Yeah.
We want an area where young people can go for a jog before work. They can go hang out on the weekends. And now what they have is they have restaurants and bars along there. They have river taxi.
Nice.
You can hop on a river taxi, go somewhere. They have little
Perfect.
piers, and so there's activities to do. You can take your family down there and spend a day.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
Do you know? And I don't. I know you're not an expert on Birmingham, Alabama, but do you know what the government's role was in that? Were they just throwing money at developers? And then follow up. You look at what Jacksonville is doing. Is the government doing enough? Do they need to do more? Is it the responsibility of the government to do private development? Do you have any thoughts on the government's role in all this?
I'm a capitalist. I don't think the government should do any development. But I think they definitely serve a role, right? So, and I don't know. I'm not an expert, like you said. Like I don't know all the details of how everything came together, but reading about it, kind of what the government did in Birmingham was, hey, here's our vision.
Okay.
Let's get people that live in Birmingham, architects, builders, engineers, creative people, like let's create a task force that these people come together and figure out what do we want and how do we get there.
Right.
And I think in Tampa, it sounds like they did the same thing, right? It was a kind of a nonprofit group, came together, people that wanted to see downtown be better, wanted to live in a place that they were proud of, and had stuff to do. And so you get those people together and you just make it happen. You figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's the government bringing, hey, we want to form this. They have the leadership of, we want to do this. Let's bring in the right people and figure it out.
So if you were mayor of Jacksonville, is that kind of one of your first steps? Is let's get everybody together and figure out what we want to be. What is our identity?
right,
so to speak.
right. What's our vision? What do people want? What do we want downtown? When we live downtown or we have people visit downtown, what do we want Jacksonville to be?
And so if you were in the room with those cohorts, what would your answer be? What do you want Jacksonville to be?
Yeah.
I mean,
you want something you can be proud of, right?
Yeah. Is there something that we should be known for that we're not? Like Austin is weird,
Right.
Like that's their little moniker. Is there anything that you can think of that is like Jacksonville, it should be known for? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, kind of what I think of Jacksonville is the south of Florida, right?
Yeah.
We're in the north, but most of Florida is not like the southern United States that I grew up in.
Right.
Right. It's Miami, it's Fort Lauderdale, it's Tampa. South Florida is a totally different vibe. I don't think that's the vibe we have. We're more of a South Georgia area, but we're in
100%.
Florida and we have a river and we have beaches. It's
100%.
we have a ton of assets, but we're still a little southern. So
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe a southern hospitality,
Yeah.
beach vibe, river.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a bumper sticker probably a year ago here in Jacksonville, and it said, "Don't date my Duval."
Yeah.
Basically saying like Miami's great for what Miami is, but that's not what we're not trying to be like Miami.
If you like Miami, you live in Miami.
Go to Miami.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I agree. I don't think that we want the congestion that Miami has, certainly, because I lived in Miami for a while as well. So I think that we just got to figure out how to get more vibrancy, get more livelihood out of downtown.
Yeah.
So how do you think you look at Birmingham, they've got all that there now. How do we get all that here now? It's the chicken or the egg. What comes first? How do you get people, young people like yourself, how do you get them downtown without retail? How do you get retail to go in without the people? Is there a,
who's gonna bite on an unknown right now?
Right.
So say I'm a developer, or I want to start a restaurant, or I want to build a development here. Am I gonna risk my money right now on Jacksonville, as I think it's coming, but how long? When is it coming? Am I gonna be the guinea pig to spend my money on that? So if it's me, I'm gonna look for help, incentives.
Yes.
Right? Hey, I don't want to pay taxes for 10 years. I don't know how it works, but something where you're going to help subsidize my risk in coming downtown and developing and trying to make this better, not only for myself, but it helps the city. It's a win-win. I mean, kind of like the city gave a bunch of money to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
They think it's going to improve the city.
Right.
It's going to be a good thing. We're willing to invest in that. It's going to spur growth and development.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing, but maybe not give it to just one business and expect them to do everything. It comes down to the small restaurant owners. It comes down to the smaller retail shops that people. You can buy anything you want on the internet.
Yeah.
So making it experiential. Have art shops and things you can't just go buy online. You want that experience. Go have brunch. Go to a couple stores. Spend time in a park. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, we've got the beautiful weather.
Right.
A little chilly today, but most of the year, it's pretty darn nice.
Yeah.
How big of an impact do you foresee UF Health, or not UF Health, but University of Florida's graduate campus in downtown to be? You mentioned Birmingham. I keep going back to Birmingham. You mentioned Birmingham has a university there in downtown. I would assume that's a pretty big draw. That's a pretty big deal, for Birmingham. Is that going to be? Do you envision this being the same thing?
I think it's not going to hurt, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to bring in. I don't know how many students they're going to have. We'll say 10,000 students.
Yeah.
Now you got 10,000 kids that are, 18 to mid-20s. And the key to me is, well, how do you get them from living out by the beaches and commuting in? You don't want a commuter school. You want them to want to live down here. You want them to stay. And that's going to be the big goal, I think, with how do we capitalize on that investment of University of Florida and building this.
Yeah.
Let's make it somewhere where these kids are going to want to live and want to be and stuff to do. We've hired a couple younger guys at our office. Like, hey, what do you do on the weekends? Well, they go to the beaches.
They go to the beaches.
They're at the bars out there. There's 5 or 6 bars, and go one to the other.
Yep.
That's where they're going to hang out. They don't have that down here.
Yeah, yeah. I remember growing up, when I grew up in St. Louis, and they had a very vibrant downtown when I was in the mid-90s. And there was a lot of concert venues, you know, that you could go to, so you could kind of walk to bars, you could walk to, but for whatever reason, I moved out, and so I never really figured out why, but it kind of died off, and downtown St. Louis is kind of in a state of decline, you know, and it kind of has been for 25 years. So it's not like it's foolproof. Like, in other words, you know, we can screw this up.
Yeah.
You know, it can get worse. What are some of the things are there small things, and as it relates to the homeless, you know, issue. Like when you come downtown, you know, you see so many homeless people, and not the city's response, but a lot of people that I've heard their response is, we don't have any more homeless people in Jacksonville than other major metropolitan areas. We just don't have anybody else down there, so they stand out more. I think that that's probably true, but it's still not a good answer, right? So how big of an issue is that in your mind?
Yeah, I think it's, whether real or not, it's a safety issue, right?
Right.
So you want to go somewhere and have fun. You don't want to have to be worried about your safety the entire time. And I think, right or wrong, that's what people think when there's a lot of homeless people around is, am I safe? At nighttime when I'm walking from one place to another, am I going to be okay? Am I going to get hassled? You want that peace of mind that you're in a safe spot. You're free to have fun and relax and enjoy your time.
Yeah. So it is an issue in your mind.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine is in downtown St. Petersburg, and they've had an incredible boom over the last, call it 5, 6, 7 years in downtown St. Pete. And they used to have a big homeless problem in St. Pete. And I asked him, I go, how'd you get rid of the homeless people? And he goes, we didn't. We just built around them. They're still there. And so I kind of started thinking, I'm like, all right, well, let's say I snap my fingers and every single homeless person was gone tomorrow from downtown Jacksonville. Like, would you want to move downtown?
No.
Probably not, right? So I feel like it's an issue, but I don't feel like it's the issue.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, I think the biggest issue is having stuff downtown where people want to come and go see. I mean, even in business, right? So we'll have clients come in town.
Right.
Okay, where are we going to take them to dinner?
Yeah.
What are we going to do after dinner?
Yeah.
Like, Calford's great. Best steak I ever had. Awesome rooftop. Really cool spot. It's the only spot.
Yeah.
Where do I go after that? We want to go have some drinks somewhere else afterwards and hang out a little bit. Where do we go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So you have to have the variety. You have to have multiple choices, you know, in the downtown area.
Yeah.
I agree. And how do you
make that happen?
Again, how do we get those? Peeling back from downtown a little bit and looking at Jacksonville, the MSA, and this is not an easy question, you know, to answer. I'm just kind of curious to get your thoughts. Jacksonville is lowest in the state in terms of GDP, you know, its economy, its output. We're lowest in the state for major MSAs in terms of college-educated people. That's why we need the government to step in and help subsidize development. We just don't have the high-paying jobs. We don't have the GDP. How do we as a region change that? How do we bring up the average income so that the deals do make sense?
Right.
You know, any thoughts on like?
So how do you get the kids that are going to enroll at UF downtown? How do you get them to stay?
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's the question.
Yeah.
You're going to go to school here. You're going to have a bad experience in downtown Jacksonville, and you're going to want to move away.
Right.
Right. How do you get those people to come here, have a great experience, and want to stay, start a business, practice medicine, whatever they're going to do? How do you get them to want to stay here?
Yeah. That's my question to you.
Right. And I think it's making the river accessible.
Okay.
Right. Having having a plan for businesses that can access the river.
Yeah.
You know, a nice, safe walkway that can connect the whole riverfront. You know, there's already a bridge you can walk across. Do the same over there.
Yep.
Have water taxis back and forth. It opens up development on both sides. But having the continuous corridor, so you can connect different areas, plan for development along that corridor. If you look at the Beltline in Atlanta, I don't know if you've been there.
I have, yes.
Right, so you can hop on a bike, hop on a scooter, go eat brunch at a restaurant, walk the path, a couple miles, go to a different restaurant, different bar, go to some shops.
Yep.
And so when we lived in Atlanta, it was a great kind of Sunday morning into afternoon activity to go, hey, let's go downtown with some friends, or to the Beltline with friends, go have some brunch, hit a couple of bars, and have a nice day.
Yeah.
How do you get that here?
Do you? We have the Emerald Trail.
Right.
You know, the first leg is kind of done. Do you? And I've seen the map, of the final product. Do you think that that's a step in the right direction? Do you think that there's it's connecting the right places?
Yeah, I don't know much about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think right now it's just kind of connecting downtown to some areas in the rail yard district. So it's in its infancy.
Yeah.
Right. But you're saying that Atlanta did it right, with the Beltline. Are there other cities that you've been to, just visiting, maybe not, live there? Are there other cities that you've seen and you're like, man, they got it right. This is awesome.
Yeah. Lived in Dallas for a short time.
Yeah.
Great city.
Yeah.
I mean, tons of stuff to do. It's clean. You feel safe.
Yep.
They've got the Katy Trail system.
Okay.
So you can I would hop on my bike at the house. It was a 10-minute bike ride downtown, and they had the different areas, different feels in each area.
Okay.
And so plenty of restaurants, plenty of bars, garden shops, retail, kind of whatever you want to do. Nice parks. Take the kids to the splash pad in the park. And you could spend a whole day there and have a great time, hop on your bike, ride back home.
So it's very, very bike friendly, very bike accessible.
Yeah, walking, biking, scooter.
Which we don't really have here.
Right.
Yet, anyway.
Right. And it sounds like it's in the works, right?
Yeah.
They're doing development with the hotels in front. You kind of see it. And there used to be that here. I didn't live here. I've only lived here 4.5 years, but there used to be kind of a restaurant area. I forget what it's called.
The landing. The former landing site. Yes.
And when I talked to guys that had visited that, I'm like, man, that was great. We'd come down for the Florida-Georgia game. We'd hang out at the landing, have a good time, make our way to the game. And so I think that's what people are missing.
Yeah.
Is that experience, hanging out on the river, having a good time, being able to walk to Jags game or the stadium for whatever event's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're missing.
I agree. I did not live here either. When the landing was there, I've read a few newspaper articles, and it just kind of sounded like it ended up in a mess.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened.
I don't know either. Are there any specific projects that you guys are keeping your eye on that you're excited about on the residential side? Gateway Jacks is like doing a gigantic project here in downtown. The Rise Doro, they're going to rebuild after their fire, next to Intuition. Are there do you get the sense that 5 years from now, things are going to be different? Are you optimistic?
Yeah, I think Jacksonville's got all the ingredients that you need for an awesome downtown.
Okay.
And it seems like we driving in here, I notice they're building a nice park right there and right on the river.
Yep. That's the former landing site.
Okay. Well, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
Now, are they incorporating commercial spots in that park? I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
I think there's going to be a restaurant. There's a small restaurant planned.
Okay.
But it's more like a diner, type establishment. It's not going to be like the landing. It's not going to be, Bubba Gump's shrimp company there or anything like that.
Right. So yeah, maybe incorporate a little more of that to where up and coming businesses want to move in and have a space there that they're proud of and excited about.
Yeah.
And then connect that park with another one on the way and have a similar development, different vibe. And I think that's what people are looking for, like same city,
Yeah.
but I can go to different areas and have a totally different experience, similar to Atlanta,
Yeah.
where you have the different neighborhoods, and Dallas as well. So.
Yeah. I've spent a little bit of time in Dallas, and I agree with you. Very, very clean city. You know, I felt safe. It seemed like a really cool city. There's a question that I try not to kind of put on paper or ask anybody, because I want them to answer it off the cuff and just kind of answer it truthfully, not truthfully, but if there was a book written about you, what would the title be?
Man, that's an on-the-spot question.
I know, and that's why I don't give you any warning. How would you describe your business life, your life, how would you wrap that up into a title of a book? Any thoughts?
Man, that's a good question. No, I don't know. Finding my way.
There you go. There you go.
Finding my way.
That's perfect.
Yeah, growing up in Alabama, love the state. Beautiful place.
Yeah.
Great people, but always wanted to see what else was out there.
Okay.
Right? So wanted to move out, wanted to experience something different, and that's what we've done. First opportunity to move out, let's take it. Let's see what happens. Let's find out where we want to be, what we want to be doing.
That's awesome.
And you don't do that by staying where you grew up.
Finding your way.
Staying comfortable, right?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
No, that's a perfect answer. I hope that you stay in Jacksonville long enough to to see all the changes that are going on around us, right?
Yeah.
I hope that they don't deploy you to somewhere else.
I think I'm here to stay
in the near future. So
here to stay and excited. I mean, it seems like Jacksonville's heading in the right direction, and it's gonna be cool to see the city transform like my hometown did.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, listen. If we can help in any way with ARCO, happy to do so.
Thank you.
We will obviously all be following the developments in downtown as they unfold. So we appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on. This is fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Take care.
You too, man.